function is a group of instructions or set of instructions, and we are giving one name for it, that is the function. Any changes made to that particular global variable is going to affect all the functions in a program wherever the same global variable are used, as we have seen in the previous slide about library, isn't it? So each and every library having a predefined functions. String is nothing but a group of characters enclosed between a pair of double quotation mark. Dear students, welcome to Computer Science classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram PU College, Mysore. Students, let us start our discussion with the chapter functions, that is chapter number 7. So, let us see the weightage of the chapter. The weightage of the chapter is 9 marks. Here, this is 1 mark question, and this is 2 marks question 1 and 1 5 marks question. So, total weightage of the chapter is 9 marks. So, now let us see. In this session, we are going to discuss about the concept of functions, and under that there are 2 types of functions, built-in functions and user-defined functions. Now let us start with the definition of functions. So what is a function with respect to programming concept? See, function is defined as it is a named group of instructions that accomplish a specific task when it is invoked. So the definition of function is, it is a group of instructions. So group of instructions, and we are going to name it, and that is called a function, and that particular function does a specific task. So this is the definition of function. So I repeat, function is a group of instructions or set of instructions, and we are giving one name for it, that is the function, and each and every function in a program does a specific task or specific work. So in general, in programming concept, you can have n number of functions, and each and every function does different tasks when it is invoked. So the meaning is invoked in the sense we have to call the function, or in general we have to use the function. So once the function is defined, a function can be called repeatedly from different places of the program without writing all the codes of the function every time. Or it can be called from inside another function also, by simply writing the name of the functions and passing the required parameters, if any. So this is the feature of a function. So what is the feature of a function? Once the function is defined, means once we have written the function for one particular task, same functions we can call the function repeatedly n number of times at different places, at different programs, or within the program, even in different other programs. So that is the feature of a function. Once the function is defined or the functions is written, same functions can be used elsewhere. Either it can be inside the same program or even maybe at the different program. See, that is the one of the feature of function. In the next slide, the programmer can define as many functions as desired by writing the code. So as there is no limit, so it depends on the applications. So a programmer can have n number of functions in his program. In programming, the use of function is the means that it achieves modularity and reusability. So it is one of the OOP concept is modularity. So what is modularity? So here a big program, a large program can be divided into number of subprograms. Those subprograms are called modules. So once if we start using the functions in our program, so that we are incorporating or we are using a concept of modularity in our program. And also another advantage of function is reusability. So what is the reusability? What you have seen in the previous slide. So same function can be repeatedly called in within the program or somewhere elsewhere without rewriting the code. So that is the meaning of reusability. Same function can be used without rewriting the codes or instructions for a specific task. So this is another feature of or advantage of function. Now, let us see the different advantages of functions in a program. It increases readability. Means actually, if we talk about functions, we have seen the previous slide, we are incorporating modularity. So large program can be broken down into number of subprograms are called modules. So that increases readability and it reduces code and debugging is easier. So reduces code means we need not to write the code once again for the same function. Reusability, same point we have discussed in our previous slide. Same function can be used elsewhere without rewriting the code. Now, here work can be easily divided among team members and completed in parallel. So this is the concept of modularity. Suppose a very large project is given, so same project can be divided among different 4 or 5 students or 4 or 5 people, and each and every student can concentrate only one part of his project. So ultimately, all the functions or all the modules are executing are done simultaneously. So that decreases the time taken to complete a project. So that is the another advantage of using functions in a program. In the next slide, let us see what are all the different types of function. So first one is inbuilt function or built-in function. Second one is user-defined function. So in short, we can say that built-in functions are the one which are already existing in the software or in the Python language. They are called built-in functions and we are using just as it is available in the software. And what a user-defined function? Here, the user, the programmer can write his own function for his project or according to his requirement. That is called referred as user-defined functions. These are two types of functions. Now let us see how to work with user-defined function or how to create a user-defined function. So here we can define our own functions while writing the program. Such functions are called user-defined functions. So here the user or the programmer can create his own function according to his requirement for a particular task. It is called as referred as user-defined function. A function definition begins with a reserved DEF. In short for is a define or definition. And the syntax for is follows. If we want to define a function, we have to follow the syntax. See, this is the syntax. DEF is a reserved. It stands for define or definition, and inside the bracket we have opened the bracket and we are closing here. Inside this we are having a parameters and parameters. Then this is nothing but your function header. The first line of a function is function header. Then we are writing the code or set of instructions to be executed. Then finally return value. So return is a return statement, and here from here to here, it is a body of the function, and this is function header. So this is the syntax of how to define a user-defined function. Again, I repeat once again. So syntax goes like this. Here, def is a reserved, and within the bracket we have parameter, and this is also optional. And again, this is referred as function header. And after that, we are writing set of instructions or the codes to be executed for a particular function. And finally, return value. So each and every function in a program returns a value. So this is the syntax of creating a user-defined function. Now let us see in the next slide. The function header always ends with a colon. So the syntax is like this. So here every function must end with a colon. This is the syntax of function define or definition. Now function name should be unique, and rules for naming identifier also applies for function name. So here we have to give the name of the function here. So function name, if you want to write the function name, it is nothing but an identifier. So we have to follow the rules of identifier. like no space and no special character, always starts with the letters, and you can have alphanumeric characters, and these are the rules to be followed while naming a function. It should be unique. And the statement outside the function, indentations are not considered as part of the function. As all of you know that Python, it follows the indentation. So that is mandatory. So in that case, so we have to follow the indentation while writing the function code. Now let us see the same thing in our next slide. In the next slide, we will see what are arguments and parameters. Now let us see an example here. Write a program using user-defined function that accepts an integer and increment the value by 5. So this is the program to be written by using function. So here functions start with the reservoir def and inc or increment value. This is name of a function or nothing but identifier. And in this example, open the bracket, we have written num. In this example, num is called as parameter. So here arguments and parameters, num is called parameters, and indentation starts like this. Indentation. Next we have to write the program statements or function statements. So num equals num plus 5. So here I want to increase the value of a variable by 5. So num is a variable. So we have to say num equal num plus 5. This statement which increase the value of the variable num by 5. Then after that we are going to print this answer here. Print number incremented by 5 is num. So this is a print statement. Next, here number equals int input, enter a number. So this is the input statement. So we have to accept it. So we have to accept the value from the user with the help of input statement. Now these are referred as a body of the function. Next we have to call the function. Now we look at the indentation of the program here. So this is the def and program statement start from this line, and after this from here to here is body of the function, and we are calling the function by changing the indentation. So when you change the indentation, it means that this statement is not a part of this function. So in that case, num is a parameter and increment value, incr value, this is name of the function here, and number is the variable here, what you have input the value. So here, this is, in this example, this variable number is called as argument, and this is the meaning of invoking the function. So increment value number. So this is we are invoking the functions. So this is what you have seen in the first line. See, once the function has been defined, it has to be revoked at particular stage in a program. So in this example, so this is function header or function definition, and num is called parameters, and here these are the statements. From here to here is body of the function, and here please observe the indentation here. So increment value, we are calling a function or we are invoking a function. So another word we use here is we have to call the function. So when you execute the program, you will get the output would be like this. So enter a number. For example, it will be executed this statement here, enter a number, and if you enter the value 8, okay, so here number incremented by 5 is 13. Because of the statement, here number, the same value what you are going to enter. In this example, you have entered 8 as the number, same number 8 will be copied to variable num, and from here num plus 8, here 8 plus this 5, that is 13. So you will get the result as 13. So this is how to create a user-defined function, how to write the parameters and arguments, how to invoke the function or how to call the function. So this is an example for a user-defined functions with arguments and parameters. Arguments and parameters, these are variables, and here parameters are the variables we are using in function definition or while defining a function or in function header. function header would be the first line of your function. And arguments are nothing but here we are using in function call statement, or we are using the variable while calling a function or invoking a function. This is referred as argument. So these are a part of a function. A function can be with parameters or without parameter, also depends on the application or a program. In the next slide, let us see what is string as a parameter. Now in the previous slide, we have given the value here parameter as a num, it is a number, so it takes the value as integer value. So in this example, we have passed or we have used integer as a parameter. Now next concept is string as a parameter. So you know what is a string? String in programming concept, string is nothing but a group of characters enclosed between a pair of double quotation mark. So here suppose if I write here double quote MYSORE. So this is a string here. So what is a string? String is nothing but a group of characters or Unicode characters enclosed between a pair of double quotation mark. So here in this example, next concept is the parameter would be a string. As I told you just now in the previous slide, in this example, num, it is a number. Here parameter as an integer value. So in this concept, parameter as a string. Now let us see an example here. Here this is a function definition def. Full name is name of a function, and here first and last, first comma last, and close the function definition with colon. So this is a function header, and here first and last are the two variables. Next we say statement, this is a programming statement or a function statement. Full name equals first plus and double quote space last. This is the statement. And next one is print double quote hello comma full name. And here if you look at the example here, these two are the function definition or body of the functions. As we have changed the indentation, so from here to here is the function. So next we have changed the indentation. These are all not a part of this function. So next statement would be first equals input, enter the first name, and last equals input, enter the last name, and full name bracket first comma last. So this is, if you observe this, here full name, first, last. So this is a full name. We are invoking the function here. We are invoking the function statement, function definition, function header. In this example, first and last are parameters, and these parameters are nothing but strings. If you observe this, first equals input a name. Your name consists of a character. It is a group of characters. So it is a string data type or string value. So here we are inputting the string 1, and here another string, and here we're using first comma last. We are calling the function or we are invoking the function, so that we are invoking the function at this stage. So this is a program. Now let us see what would be the output of this. So if you look at the output of this, here enter first name. You are entering one name, Gan, G-Y-A-N. It is a string. It is a group of characters, a string. And again enter last name. It is Vardhan. This is another string. And as per the function statement, here we are given that full name equal first plus second, some space, and last. So what is the meaning here is, this plus stands for concatenation with respect to string is concerned. So it's going to join these two strings here. So if you look at the output, here this is Gan is one string, it is first variable, and this is last variable, and is going to combine these two strings, and it gives the result as, or output as, hello Ganvardhan. See, this is a statement I have written here. Print hello comma full name. Now full name is nothing but first is the first string and plus second string or last string. So this is the example program to show the string as a parameter. So it is possible to pass the string as a parameter as well as number as we seen in our previous example. So this is string as a parameters. Now let us see the next slide. Here, next concept is functions returns a value. So in a programming concept, each and every function returns a value. So we have seen in the first slide, if you look at the syntax of user-defined function, see in the beginning, the first slide we have seen that the syntax is, here we have written return value. So the meaning here is every function in a program returns a value. So with respect to the same concept, here function returns a value. So the function may or may not return a value when it is called. So it depends on the program. So a function may or may not return a value. The return statement returns the value from the function. So suppose if we want to return the value from a function, we have to make use of a return statement. Return is a keyword. So the return statement does the following function. There are two functions of this return statement. One is it returns the control to the calling function. That is the one function. Next one is return values or none. Means it return values because every function may or may not return a value. So return function returns a value from the function. So these are the functions of return statement. In the next slide, we will see an example program for function returning a value. In this example, df is a reserved, addition is name of a function, n1, n2 are parameters. We are passing parameters. So here sum equal to n1 plus m2 is the formula to addition of two numbers, return sum. So here we are using a return statement. It is a keyword or a reserved word with sum. Sum is the variable here. Next statement would be num1 equals to int input, enter the first number. This is statement to accept the value from the user first value. This is the second value. And next step is result equals addition num1 comma num2. So here we are invoking the functions. We are calling the functions and num1 comma num2 are called arguments. What you have seen in the definition of in the previous slide. Argument n1, n2 are parameters. So here if we observe this, the result equals this and print result. So in this example, how the computer executes a statement or how the statements are executed. In the first line, we are defining a function. After this, next statement would be num1. So with the help of this, we are going to accept a value from the keyboard, first value. And here with the second value will be accepted through this statement. Next one is result equal addition num1 comma num2. Here we are invoking the function. Now actually the control transfer from here to this point. Now what you have seen the definition in our previous slide. Here we have seen that the function returns the control to the calling function. So that is the meaning of the here. So what we are seeing in the example here is the same point. As soon as the interpreter execute this statement, the control from here transfer to this function definition. So it does the function or the calculation and the result will be here return sum. The result of this will be returned to this function here in this example to the variable result. The result of the function, it will be returning to the variable result. So that is the function of return statement. Then we are going to print the result and please note that we are not printing the variable sum because already the result of this function will be transferred to the variable result. So this is how the function returns a value to the calling function. So this is functions returning a value. In the next slide we will see scope of variable. Another concept is scope of variables. Now we have seen the what are variables. So here a part of program where a variable is accessible, it can be defined as the scope of variable. So we are declaring so many variables in a program or in a function. So that is nothing but the scope of a variable. Here there are two types of variables. One is global variable. So what is a global variable? So it is a variable that is defined outside any function or any block is known as global variable. So here, as we have seen in the previous example, see these are the variables. In this example, this sum is a variable and this is defined inside this function. Inside this function, so this is referred as local variable. So according to the definition here, what is a global variable? A global variable is the one which can be defined outside the function. So if you look at the previous example, sum is a variable, it is defined inside this. So this is a local variable, not a global variable. Now, this global variable can be accessed in any functions defined onwards. Any change made to the global variable will impact all the functions in the program where that variable can be accessed. So this is another feature of global variables. Once the variable is declared globally outside the function, the same variable can be used elsewhere or anywhere in the program. So, and once the value has been changed or any changes made to that particular global variable is going to affect all the functions in a program wherever the same global variable are used. See, that is the meaning of the statement here. So first one is it can be accessible anywhere in the program, even inside the function or inside another function also. And also any changes made to the variable is going to affect all the functions where the global variables are used. So this is the definition of global variable. Next one is local variable. As I told you in the previous slide, a local variable, a variable that is defined inside any function or a block is known as local variable. As we have seen in the example, so here in this example, sum a is a local variable, means is it defined inside the function addition. So that is the meaning of this. So this, once the local variables are defined here, so this local variable cannot be accessed outside the function. That is the meaning of local variable. So local variable, can be accessible only within the function, and this variable cannot be accessed even outside the function. So that is the definition of local variable, and it can be accessed only within the function, and it exists only till the function execute. Means once the execution is done, so it will not be available. So that is the definition or meaning of local variables. In the next concept, we will see, so what are standard library? So Python, it is a collection of many built-in functions that can be called in a program as and when required, thus saving the programmer's time creating those commonly used functions every time. So if we talk about library, standard library, so every software will be having its own standard library. So library is nothing but it is a group of functions or group of instructions in the software, and the programmer can utilize those functions in his program or in his project. That is the meaning of standard library in any of the software. Now let us see another type of functions. Here we have built-in functions. And what are built-in functions? As we have seen in the beginning, the functions can be categorized into two types. One is built-in functions or inbuilt function. Second one is user-defined function. So far what we have discussed is user-defined functions. Now we have learned how to create a user-defined function, how to pass parameters, arguments, and how a user-defined function returns a value. Our next type is built-in function. So what are built-in functions? So the built-in functions are ready-made functions in Python that are frequently used in programs. As we have seen in the previous slide about library, isn't it? So each and every library having a predefined functions. So library is nothing but it is a group of functions. So what are built-in functions? So built-in functions are ready-made functions. So if I say ready-made functions, the programmer or user only he can make use of it, and he need not write a separate code for that particular application or particular task. So here commonly in Python programming, we have different types of built-in functions. Category 1 is for input or output functions, data type conversion, mathematical functions, and other general functions. These are all different types of built-in functions. Now let us see some of the few built-in functions with some examples and definition. Now for example, one is ABS of x. Here ABS stands for absolute value of a variable x here. So it is a built-in function. So how do we use it? Suppose if I write here, this is the prompt. Now he say ABS of 4. If you give the value 4 for the x here, so 4 gives the output as 4. So this is one of the built-in function, and here only we are using this function, and here the user, we are not writing any code, separate code for these functions. So one more example, ABS of minus 5.7 returns 5.7. So this is one function, absolute value of x. Second function is div mod x comma y. Here div for division, mod stands for modulus. So if we use that function here, div mod 7 comma 2. If we give value for x and y as 7 and 2, so here there are two functions inside this. First one is division, means it is a function to return the quotient of any division, as well as mod stands for remainder. So this function returns here one is quotient as well as remainder of any division. If you look at the example here, 7 comma 2. If you divide 7 by 2, so 2 3s are 6, quotient will be 3 and remainder is 1. So output would be 3 comma 1. So this is one of the inbuilt function. Next one is POW of x comma y comma z here. So the meaning here is POW of 5 comma 2. If you make use of this, so the definition is 5 raised to the power of 2, means 5 squared, that is 25 is the output. Similarly, we have length function. If you look at the length function, with this is what you have seen in the previous example, string, length, patience. So here is a group of characters. So the length function returns number of characters within the given string. The length function. Similarly, maximum of sequence or maximum of a list. Look at the example here. Max of 1, 2, 3, 4. So inside the small bracket, we have square bracket. It is nothing but a list. So here in this example, there are 4 elements are there in a list. So the output would be 4. Similarly, a minimum function is a built-in function, a minimum of 1, 2, 3, 4. So it gives the minimum value among the elements in this function or in this argument. So here minimum value is 1. So these are all few built-in functions in Python. Now let us move on to next concept, that is nothing but module. So what are modules in a program or in Python program? So function is a group of instructions we have learned in the previous slide. Now what's a module? A module is a grouping of functions. So now we know what is a function. We have learned the definition of function. It is a group of statements and we are giving one name for it and it does some specific work or task. But what are modules? So module is nothing but it is a group of functions. Nothing but a group of functions. And here it can be inbuilt functions, a group of functions. On what you have seen, the different 5 types of built-in functions, all these are available inside a module. So that is the definition of a module. And to use a module, we use import statement, the module. We use the word import is a reserved word to import or to use a particular module in our program. The syntax of import statement is as follows: import module name 1 and in the bracket name of the function. So this is the syntax of using modules in a program. Now let us some example here. See, here we have few built-in modules. One is math module, random and statistics module. And all these module will be having different types of functions with respect to their category. So in math function, it consists of all mathematical functions which are used in Python programming. And this is for statistics, means this module consists of few statistical functions can be used in Python programming. So here, how do we use these modules? Suppose if we want to make use of this module statistics, we use the word import statistics in the beginning of the program. Similarly, for import random, import math. This is how to use modules in Python program. Now let us see, there are one or two examples here. Say math.ceil. Here math.ceil, it stands for math is name of the module. So math, it belongs to, the ceil is the function. So math.ceil, it stands for ceil is the function which are in math module. Math.ceil here. The result of this math.ceil of 9.7 results in 10. See, this is again an inbuilt functions which is inside a module called math. Similarly, math.sqrt of x. So here square root of 144, that is 12. It results in 12. Similarly, statistics.mean. So here statistics is a name of a module and one of the function under is mean. So mean of x. So if you find out mean of x means it results the average value of the elements in the list. Similarly, random of random integer x comma y. The meaning here is random is name of a module, dot is an operator here, dot rand integer means we are going to generate a random number between x comma y. In the example, random dot rand int 3 comma 7 close the bracket. So in this example, it's going to print or results in any random number between 3 and 7. In this example, it is 4. See, these are all the few modules or functions in Python programming. Students, so far we have discussed about the chapter functions and we have learned the definition of functions and built-in functions, user-defined functions, and also how to create user-defined functions, and along with the arguments, parameters, and passing string as a parameter, and so many concepts. So let us continue our discussion in my next class. Thank you so much.